Thanks for pressing play. This is Lochhead on Marketing, and we are a #1 Apple business podcast, and we are sure glad that you are here, and I hope that you are enjoying the Podstorm. On this episode, an incredibly important topic: how to be a category designer, how to be the person that drives a new strategy for your company and introduces the world to something new, something different, something that makes a giant difference. My friends at Oracle NetSuite are the #1 cloud business system. Check them out at netsuite.com/different. And my friends at Splunk are the leaders in data to everything. Visit splunk.com/D2E, as in data to everything. Now, hey ho, let's go. Welcome to Lochhead on Marketing, where we're trying the world's first marketing podstorm. 30 days of strategies and ideas to help you create the future of your choosing. Hey ho, let's go. All right, let's talk about what a category designer really is. And I want to read to you something from my first book, Play Bigger. Category design is the discipline of creating and developing a new market category and conditioning the market so it will demand your solution and crown your company as its king. A category designer leads a company-wide strategy with the goal of becoming a category queen of a high-value, high-growth market category of your choosing. And in Play Bigger, we did some primary research. And if you've read the book, you know this. What we discovered is that in the tech space, one company takes 2/3 of the economics, 76% of the value as measured by market cap. And for companies that aren't public, valuation goes to one company in the tech space. And as you know, more and more market categories are behaving like the tech space. And so the aha here is that in more and more market categories, one company gets 2/3 of the economics. The goal of becoming a category queen, the goal of a category designer is to be that company. And so how do you do that? A category designer brings together all the critical functions in a business. Many key strategic activities across your company, aligning sales, marketing, product development / engineering, and even HR, we'll get to that in a second, with the single focus of becoming a category queen. Category design is a discipline, and for many, a career. Just like some people can become a product designer or an experience designer, there's a whole new role at many companies called category designer. And, here's what I'll tell you, just on a personal basis, category design became my superpower over time. And it was a huge differentiator for me as a CMO, because in discussions with CEOs, both as a CMO or as an advisor, people would ask me to come in and do this, that, and the other. And I was able to say, look, if you need a good marketing person who can keep the trains running on time and drive leads and make sure all the shit looks good and make sure you have a good brand and, all the basic core pieces of marketing, I'm not your guy. If you want to figure out how to design and dominate a market such that you take 2/3 of the economics and become the category queen or king, I'm your guy. And I'll tell you, that's a massively differentiated conversation with a CEO. I know from personal experience. More importantly, I know the pure joy of participating in this process, of partnering with a legendary CEO to make this happen. It's an unfair, unique, competitive differentiator. And so a category designer is a leader who takes responsibility for bringing the whole company together to give the company the best chance to become that category queen. And in most companies, there's more than one. So let's break it down a little. First, there's the CEO. She has to be the primary leader. If you know me, I believe the E in CEO stands for evangelist. And internally and externally, the world has to believe that she is the primary driver and she's the one out in front leading this category design process. If she's the founder of the company, even more important, but no matter what, the CEO needs to be out in front leading on category design. Now, the CMO can be a critical part of this. I have done this as a CMO and as an advisor, and you need to be deeply connected and sort of connected at the hip with the CEO as a CMO to make this work. Beyond those two, the other critical leaders in the company are a part of this, and I would hope at least view part of their job as being a category designer. So the CRO, chief revenue officer, or whoever is in charge of sales and go to market, chief product officer or head of engineering, whatever you call that person. And as I mentioned, head of HR. These people need to come together to design the category and ultimately dominate it. Now, category designers bring together the whole business, and they help create a blueprint, a visual representation that generates a belief that you have a solution to an urgent problem. So they build this blueprint. They are the creators and at least co-authors, if not primary authors, of the provocative and engaging POV, point of view, that you're now going to evangelize in the market to teach the world to think differently about a problem and therefore the solution that you're offering. Being a category designer means developing an environment around your product and service that endears you to the world, that wins loyalty and gratitude for the product and the company because of the mission that you're on, because of the fact that what you're up to is helping to either exploit an opportunity that is a good thing for people or help solve a problem for people. Regardless, category designers put the market and employees on a mission. And that's why category design is such an important thing internally. Matter of fact, I would argue it's equally important internally as it is externally, because category design can be a seminal part of company culture. It's directly connected to building the type of company and the type of people you want to hire. And here's why. You want what my dear friend Eddie Yoon calls mission-driven people, missionaries versus mercenaries. And missionaries sign up to a mission. And in order to have a mission, you have to believe in a point of view, which you could think of as an ethos. And the point of view is purpose-built to position you to tackle this opportunity or problem, to have people see the world the way you do, and to have them get fired up about tackling this opportunity or problem, and therefore thinking about things the way you do, and therefore buying your product or service. Category designers create a powerful POV, a powerful story that drives both employees, customers, partners, and investors to make a choice. And a choice that is driven not by a comparison, but driven by distinguishing themselves. See, most people fall into a trap of comparison, whereas category design, and when I'm asking you to compare me to somebody else, what's present? Somebody else. This is the classic Pepsi mistake. Pepsi tastes better than Coke. 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 What's in your mind? If you're like most people, Coke. And so legends don't want to compare themselves. They want to distinguish themselves. They want to be viewed as hard or impossible to replace. The POV invokes something that is different from what came before, not better. And they drive that choice around that mission, around that POV. Legendary category designers harness all of the power of marketing, PR, advertising, and all the components of the marketing mix to condition the market to desire and need whatever you're giving it. Here's a simple way to think about it. If you want to sell Bibles, there's got to be Christians. And on episode 53 of Lochhead on Marketing, we talk about how Fender is trying to create more guitar players by giving away their guitar teaching platform. Because if you're Fender, the aha here is, if you want to sell more guitars, you got to create more guitar players. And teaching people to play guitar for free is a smart way to do that. And so the goal here is to condition the market for people to have an aha that changes their perspective, that endears them to the problem and therefore the solution. And if you do that, it'll change consumption, usage, and buying. That's why category design is much more than marketing, messaging, or branding. Above all, category designer is the person who pulls together all of the seminal critical components of a company, putting them together in lockstep, feeding off each other, building off each other, so that you build momentum internally. You align everybody on this goal. In that sense, category design is like a musical score for a symphony. Just as every part of the orchestra needs to play together tightly in concert, every part of the company needs to execute their component of category design together. And in that context, the category designer is like the orchestra conductor. And one more thing, on a recent episode of Follow Your Different with my dear friend Splunk CEO Doug Merritt, and if you're any kind of a regular listener to either of these podcasts, you know that I have a business relationship with Doug and Splunk, so I am far from unbiased, but for a reason. Anyway, that said, Doug mentioned something critical, which is when he became CEO, it was because he and the board and the executive team ultimately were aligned on a massive change agenda. Now, the reason I bring this up is I get asked all the time, well, can we sort of do bottoms up category design? What if we do something really cool in Europe and everybody sees how it works, and then I can go to my boss and she can go to her boss, and ultimately we'll get to the CMO and the CEO and we'll say, hey, look, we redesigned the category here in some corner of EMEA, and so don't you think we should do it enterprise wide? That's not going to work ever. Category design is a top-down strategic initiative. It cannot be done bottom-up. If the CEO is not on board, this is not going to go. If the board is not on board, this is not going to go. If the CMO is not on board, same thing. And in the case of Doug, he got the job as CEO. He was an executive inside the company. He got promoted to CEO because, in part, the board wanted to create a different future. In their case, new product, new technology, new go-to-market, and ultimately new category design, all of which they've done. So my point is, Doug's CEO-ness, if you will, was predicated on a shared commitment with the board to go get this kind of massive transformation done. The CEO's got to drive it. This is not some secret initiative in the background. There's no such thing as covert category design. 1,000% alignment with the board or it won't work. And then the other sort of aha, I would posit to you that there's a very good chance, particularly given the massive change being sparked by C-19, the massive change being sparked by a horrible global recession, and now, on top of all of that, an awakening around social justice and equality. The aha here is we are living in a cocoon time. And as a result, I would posit to you, somebody's going to design or redesign your market category and win. And I think it might as well be you. All right. We would like to thank my good friends at Oracle NetSuite. America is getting back to work, but to create a powerful future, you need every advantage. NetSuite recently surveyed hundreds of business leaders and assembled a playbook on the top strategies they're using as America fires back up. To receive your free guide, the 7 actions businesses need to take now, and to schedule your free product tour, visit netsuite.com/different. That's netsuite.com/different. And my friends at Splunk are delivering the value of data, and data has never been more important than it is right now. Visit splunk.com/D2E and learn how to turn data into doing. That's splunk.com/D, the number 2, and the letter E. Now, your corporate website is often the first experience that people have of your company. So if your website sucks, I hate to tell you, you suck. My friends at Atranet have been building legendary B2B websites in Silicon Valley for over 20 years. Visit atre.net. OneLifeFullyLived.org is the nonprofit helping you dream, plan, and live your best life. And man, oh man, we need to do that right now. Visit the number one, lifefullylive.org. My first book, Play Bigger, How Pirates, Dreamers, and Innovators Create and Dominate Markets. Why not pick up a couple million copies? And on a upcoming episode of the Podstorm, I have some big news for you and a big thank you for you about Play Bigger. And we'll talk about how to create and market legendary content. Speaking of legendary content, my friends at mission.org create corporate podcasts and content. Here's the aha here. I think almost every company needs to become a media company, and mission.org will help you do that, particularly with podcasts. Check them out today. And speaking of podcasts, the platform we use for mobile dialogues and conversations is squadcast.fm. Check them out. Today's information is provided to you solely for informational purposes, and this oddcast is a sole property of the Lochhead Oddcast Network. We are produced and edited by living podcast legend Jason DeFilippo. Sarah Knox and Jamie J do technical execution, and they build Lochhead.com. Why not check us out? And while you're there, subscribe to our newsletter. We've been sending out some pretty awesome shit lately. Lochhead, LOCHHEAD.com. Show notes by the incomparable Diane Gervasio. Candy Dandy keeps all the trains running on time. I love you, Mom and Dad. And the thought I'll leave you with today comes from former Congresswoman Mia Love, who said, regardless of the difficulties we may face individually, in our families, in our communities, and in our nation, the old adage is still true. You can make excuses or you can make progress, but you cannot make both. All right, that's it. Please stay healthy, stay legendary, take care of yourselves and your community. And thank you again for the gift of your time. And until we're together again, follow your different.